So ESPN never misses the opportunity to make a race-fueled argument. See yesterday the ridiculous Kendrick Perkins Jokic MVP take, where he was alleging that there's a preference towards white players in terms of the white media voters, Jokic winning MVP and relating it to Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, and a whole bunch of total bullshit, alleged racism that JJ Redick went on First Take and systematically destroyed his argument. It was a beautiful thing to watch. But also that what happened yesterday was more news that relates to today in terms of more alleged racism in the sports world. You had Lamar Jackson, who after months of nauseating contract discussions, where keeps asking for a fully guaranteed contract, Ravens finally said, fuck it, we're going to put the non-exclusive tag on you, meaning for those who don't know, he is allowed, that gives him the ability to negotiate with other teams in terms of getting a contract offer, the one that he wants, a fully guaranteed deal, which is a pretty ridiculous deal in terms of the NFL. But he has the opportunity to look out and try to get that. And then if it gives the Ravens also the opportunity to match it if they see fit, to say, all right, we like you that much. If that's your market value, go for it. Which I love what the Ravens did with this non-exclusive tag, basically saying, look, Lamar, we've been reasonable with you, giving you these offers. You keep asking for very high, unreasonable demands when it comes to your contract thing. Forget about the Deshaun Watson thing. That is a total anomaly and not a precedent that a lot of NFL teams want to set, but he's hell bent on it. So they said, all right, bro, you can get that money. Go ahead and go after it. And amazingly, once that happened, teams that seem to be in the running for Lamar Jackson, or just for a quarterback in general, we're talking about quarterback desperate teams like the Falcons, the Jets, I believe the Panthers maybe were in on it too. But they all came out and said, currently not pursuing Lamar Jackson. Miami, the Dolphins, they were another one of those teams. And immediately everyone points to collusion and alleged racism in this case, basically teams targeting Lamar Jackson and saying that, don't go after this guy if you're a quarterback desperate team, because we don't want to set that precedent of a sort of deal like that, a fully guaranteed deal. Which ESPN this morning, I was watching some of the shows get up, and all of a sudden collusion is that word that's getting thrown out everywhere. If that word sounds familiar, because we used to hear it years ago when it came to Colin Kaepernick. You remember the NFL flameout who started to make himself the star of a national controversy. But anyway, that's a different point. So you had that going on. And what the collusion in that case was that when there's attempts to try to get into the NFL, collusion is that owners came together and said, don't sign this guy. It's bad for business, makes too much of a spectacle of himself. We don't want that in our business, ruining our bottom line. And so that word was thrown out a lot back then. And of course, a whole bunch of race baiters were going for it and saying, it's collusion. It's got to be. These owners are definitely coming together saying, don't sign Colin Kaepernick, which ended up being unfounded, but it is what it is. But the same case is happening now with the Lamar Jackson thing, where now every single Black media personality on ESPN, if you go up and watch the shows today, Ryan Clark, Kimberly A. Martin, Chris Canty, everyone is getting egged on saying that, it's collusion. This is the 1950s infringing upon Lamar Jackson's rights to get a new contract.
There is no explanation for it other than collusion. There is no plausible explanation.
Racing forward to make sure everyone knew that they're not going to be trying to sign Lamar Jackson, which struck a lot of people as funny. Now,
which everyone just completely misses the point when it comes to this kind of shit. And it's just saying this alleged racism, and always when it comes to these Black quarterbacks, when you look in this Lamar Jackson case, you don't need collusion for NFL teams and owners to say a fully guaranteed deal is not something that we have any interest in. It's bad business in the NFL. You give a fully guaranteed contract, the injury risk and everything that comes with it, fully guarantee that money. That's just a terrible deal. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. This guy has missed the last two seasons in terms of the end of the season, where he missed, I think, 5 or 6 games in the 2021 season. and then he missed 6 games, including the playoffs this season, which people say that, oh, well, you know, maybe he could have played. He was just holding out. That makes it even worse. You want to sign a guy that's going to hold out and leave your team hanging like that when you have the ability to play. But let's say he was injured. Then why in the hell would you be so gung-ho? Why would a team be so gung-ho to give a guy a fully guaranteed deal with his play style and his and the fact that he's missed the end of the last 2 seasons? Like, that kind of doesn't go hand in hand. You know, you're either on one side where he was too injured to play, or one side where he basically quit on his team. Either one's not really great. But you don't need collusion in that fact for NFL teams and owners to say, that's just not a smart deal. And everyone points to the Deshaun Watson case, including Lamar Jackson, who was just so laser focused on the Deshaun Watson contract. This guy is like an addict, just saying, I need that contract. If I don't get over $230 million guaranteed, then the Ravens don't love me, man. And it's just like, teams are just trying to give you a reasonable offer, and you're not making things easier on yourself with the fact that your mommy is the one doing the negotiating at the table for you, because you are either too cheap or too scared or whatever, not smart enough to have an agent who can go in and leverage your value and sort of negotiate on your behalf. And also not having an agent is what's working against them here. In the fact that the Ravens are saying, all right, we have a pretty good idea what your market value is, but go ahead and see what team is going to offer you a fully guaranteed contract. And I think a lot of teams are just saying, that just ain't the business we're going to get into. And that won't just be for Lamar. I think that's going to be the case with guys like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts, who are all up for contract extension soon. So you'll see in that coming up that it's all like, you know, players show you what they're really all about. And when you are so gung-ho on getting a certain amount of money, when in all honesty you're being offered a reasonable amount of money when it comes to contract negotiations, I just kind of think it shows just absolute just kind of greediness. And if you don't want to use that word, whatever, it is what it is. But I'm usually always on the side of teams when it comes to this. You know, teams, there's a salary cap. Teams are looking to build sort of the best roster. And no one is exactly penny pinching in the NFL right now when it comes to dollars. You know, it's plenty of money to go around. Quarterbacks are more than compensated in getting, I mean, like the set market in terms of a per year basis for a quarterback like Lamar Jackson would be, obviously, it would be like above that, around that Aaron Rodgers number, you know, at least like 50 million a year or something like that. Not exactly penny pinching dollars. But of course, like I said, if you go on any show right now, it's all about collusion. It's all about racism towards quarterbacks, specifically in the case, obviously, Lamar Jackson. You know, it's almost, and it's so nauseating to listen to, just because these people are just obsessed with the dollars of black quarterbacks. You know, I'm a Cowboys fan, and the Dak Prescott negotiations that happened a couple of years ago were just beyond insufferable to listen to, just because it was just all about, hey, why aren't you paying this black quarterback? You know, give this guy his money, even though he's shown that he's like a B- quarterback and he doesn't play well in good games and he only plays good against the wretched NFC East and he always flames out in the playoffs. But yeah, give this guy his money. He's done everything right besides that list of like 4 things that I just mentioned right there. And it's the same thing going with Lamar Jackson, which Lamar Jackson is he's a really good quarterback. He's dynamic. Obviously, he's a great runner. He wins a lot of games. But I don't think any NFL team is out of line just saying that, yeah, we just don't want to give you a fully guaranteed contract. And it's not because of alleged bullshit racism that anyone on ESPN would let you know about. It's just a matter of business. And I don't blame the Ravens for doing what they're doing. And like I said, I love what they're doing. Just saying that, yo, we're set in our ways. We're not going to set this precedent. If you want to be greedy and try to get every last dollar you can, go ahead. Go poach the Washington Commanders for as much money as you can, or any other team. But the fact that the teams have come out and basically said, yeah, we ain't, we're not into Lamar Jackson. It's not because of racism. It's because the guy said that gung-ho on getting a $230 million fully guaranteed deal, more than what Deshaun Watson got. And if that's what he's so gung-ho about, then obviously teams that don't want to do that are going to say, well, if you're so gung-ho on that money, then we're not going to do it. So sorry, bro, but it is what it is.